Welcome, history enthusiasts and curious minds, to a tale shrouded in mystery and intrigue. In the annals of the Wild West, one name stands out, evoking both fear and fascination: Johnny Ringo. Legends paint him as a notorious gunslinger and a key figure in the outlaw era. But beyond the myths and Hollywood glamour, who was the real Johnny Ringo? Join us as we embark on a chilling journey through the life of this enigmatic figure, separating fact from fiction and unearthing the truth that will undoubtedly send shivers down your spine. Get ready to delve into the gripping story of the real Johnny Ringo. John Peters Ringo, better known as Johnny Ringo, was an Old West outlaw who fought in the Mason County War in Texas. He then made his way to Tombstone, Arizona, where he became associated with the infamous Clanton Gang. Born on May 3, 1850 in Greens Fork, Indiana, Ringo came from a good family. Eventually, his family moved to Liberty, Missouri, where he attended college. Tragedy struck the Ringo family on July 30, 1864, during a journey to California, when Johnny, then 14 years old, witnessed the sudden death of his father, Martin Ringo, when he stepped off their wagon holding a shotgun, which accidentally discharged. According to the account in the Liberty Tribune, an eyewitness provided a harrowing report of the tragic incident. As the witness recounted, upon the accidental discharge of the gun, they observed Martin Ringo's hat being forcibly propelled 20 feet into the air, while his brain was scattered in multiple directions. The scene left a profound impact, and the witness stated that they had never before seen such a heart-wrenching sight, witnessing a wife and children in unbearable agony. The family later buried Martin on a hillside along the trail. This unfortunate incident left a lasting impact on young Ringo and influenced the final path he would take in the lawless frontiers of the West. In 1869, Ringo said goodbye to his mother, brother, and sisters in San Jose, California, beginning a journey that took him to Mason County, Texas. There he formed a relationship with Scott Cooley, a former Texas Ranger and adopted son of rancher Tim Williamson. Trouble arose in Mason County with the brutal execution of two American thieves, Elijah and Pete Backus, at the hands of a predominantly German mob. Anarchy broke out on May 13, 1875, when Tim Williamson was captured by a hostile army and murdered by a German farmer named Peter Badman Bader. Driven by vengeance, Cooley and his friends, including Johnny Ringo, launched a campaign of terror against their rivals, sparking what the authorities called the Mason County War, while locals call it the Hoodoo War. In an act of revenge, Cooley sought justice by ending the life of former German Deputy Police Chief John Worley. Cooley gained a reputation as a dangerous and respected man as a Texas Ranger, with many lives being taken with his own hands during the war. After Cooley's supporter Moses Baird was killed, Ringo murdered James Chaney on September 25, 1875, along with a friend named Bill Williams. They rode to Chaney's house. Chaney, who had led Baird into the ambush, greeted them unarmed, inviting them in without suspicion. Waiting for the right moment, both Ringo and Williams shot him dead. The duo then searched for Dave Dool, trying to call him out. However, Dool prepared in advance. He stormed out with a gun, fired, and they fled back to town. Sometime later, Scott Cooley and Johnny Ringo mistook Charlie Bader for his brother Pete and killed him. The consequences of this action led him to being jailed in Burnett, Texas, under the supervision of Sheriff A.J. Strickland. However, they managed to escape with the help of friends. Then they broke up to evade the law. The Mason County War ended around November 1876 after about a dozen people were killed. During this time, Scott Cooley's fate remained uncertain, with many assumptions about his death. Meanwhile, Johnny Ringo and his friend George Gladden were taken to prison after a period of evasion from the law. While in prison, one of Ringo's inmates was notorious outlaw John Wesley Hardin. While Gladden received a hefty 99-year sentence, Ringo only served nearly 2 years in prison for his actions in the feud until the charges were dismissed. He later settled in Loyal Valley, Texas, where he worked as a police officer for a short time. His career as a lawman didn't last long, however, as he ventured west, heading for Arizona. Johnny Ringo was a good gunman. Johnny Ringo's notoriety as a deadly gunslinger stems from accounts of his prowess in shooting competitions, where he reputedly displayed exceptional skill by effortlessly shattering the necks of bottles with his revolver. Notably, Ringo's proficiency with guns began at the age of 12, excelling both pistols and rifles. Unfortunately, this formidable talent is often overshadowed by cases of gun violence perpetrated by Ringo. One such incident occurred at a saloon in Safford, Arizona, where a drunken Ringo spoke to a man named Lewis Hancock. Seemingly friendly at first, Ringo offers to buy Hancock a drink. However, when the man declines the offer, Ringo gets angry, prompting him to pull out his pistol and shoot Hancock without warning. By some stroke of luck, Hancock survived. Another incident, also in Safford, and while drunk, Ringo heard a man insult a woman on the street. Amidst his temper, Ringo approached the man, whipped him with the pistol, quickly ending his life by firing a fatal shot in the man's neck. These unsettling episodes of violence, coupled with Ringo's formidable reputation as a marksman, have contributed to the enduring legend of this enigmatic figure in the annals of the Wild West. Johnny Ringo versus Doc Holliday. It was during this time in Tombstone that Ringo came at odds with Doc Holliday. Tensions were high between the Earp and Cowboy factions and had threatened to boil over into violence at any time. Meanwhile, Ringo had formed a relationship with the Clanton Gang, a notorious outlaw gang widely known as the Cowboys of Tombstone. In fact, Ringo himself has been dubbed the King of the Cowboys. On January 17, 1882, Ringo and Doc Holliday threatened each other and appeared to be on the verge of a gunfight. The conflict caught the attention of Tombstone Police Chief James Flynn, leading to the arrest of both men for carrying weapons within town limits. Both were fined. Judge William H. Stilwell continued to prosecute Ringo for a Galeyville robbery. As a result, he was arrested and incarcerated on January 20th, after a brief release. Then Ringo was suspected by the Earps of taking part in the December 28, 1881 ambush of Virgil Earp, leaving him permanently disabled, and Morgan Earp's murder on March 18, 1882, when he was playing pool in a local saloon in Tombstone. Johnny Ringo joined posse pursuing Earps. On March 20, 1882, Deputy U.S. Marshal Wyatt Earp and his party confronted and shot Frank Stilwell in Tucson. After the shooting, Earp, along with a federal team, embarked on a mission to track down the individuals responsible for the ambush of Virgil and Morgan. Meanwhile, Cochise County Sheriff Johnny Behan obtained a warrant from a Tucson judge seeking the arrests of Earp and Holliday. He represented Ringo and 19 other men, many of whom were friends of Stilwell and the Cochise County Cowboys. In the vendetta ride, Wyatt Earp finishes off Curly Bill Brocious, Ringo's best friend, in a gunfight at Iron Springs, later Mescal Springs, about 20 miles from Tombstone. Earp then revealed to his biographer, Stuart Lake, that Florentino Cruz had confessed to witnessing Morgan's murder. According to Cruz, Ringo, Stilwell, Swilling, and Brocious were the perpetrators of Morgan's murder, although historians have cast doubt on the veracity of Earp's account. The events of this tumultuous period are deeply intertwined with the notorious feud between the Earp factions and their enemies, leaving a lasting impact on the history of the American West. Johnny Ringo was a very charismatic outlaw. In fact, Ringo was not a formally educated man, and he came from a struggling working-class family in Indiana. Surprisingly, he proved to be more educated than many of his teammates and a gentleman. It is unknown how much education Ringo actually had, but probably not so much that he would trade profanities in Latin with Doc Holliday like he did in the movie Tombstone. Not many people know that Kate wrote an account of her Tombstone experiences, and her description of Ringo is worth retelling. Ringo was a fine man any way you look at him, physically, intellectually, morally. She went on to say that he was 6 feet tall, rather slim in build, although broad-shouldered, medium fair as to complexion with gray blue eyes and light brown hair. She said that toward all women his was attitude gentlemanly, that he was always neat, clean, well-dressed, and he was noble, for he never fought anyone except face to face.
Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.